at home, and she wanted to make popcorn. My mom didn't want to make popcorn this time, so Paul said, "Yeah, go ahead." So she went in there, and finally Paul said, "What's she doing in there?" And it was quite a while later. So he went in there, and she had put the popcorn in the water and was boiling it. She thought that's how you made popcorn. Isn't that cute? Yeah, and then one time when you were at the greenhouse, do you remember that? Was it a raccoon or something?
Oh, I do. I remember that.
And she chased the raccoon. Was it a raccoon?
It was a raccoon in our sauna.
Yes. And she went and shooshed it out with a broom, and it went out. Well, Paul, when it came back, and she said, "Paul, that animal is still here." And he went out there because she had no fear of the animal. But Paul knew what it was and how dangerous they could be. So I think he was a little apprehensive. And he went out there to get rid of it and bit the broom in two.
Yeah, I
and
remember
he kind of
that.
got out there.
She thought it was a cat.
Oh, and then at Palo, when she lived across from us in Palo, she let this kitten in the house. And she fed it and watered it. And then it just was kind of like it wanted to go outside. So she opened the door and let it out. So Paul came home that night. He said, "Was there a skunk around here?"
Really?
Yes. And she said, "No." She said, "But there was a cat here, and I let it in and gave it something to eat and then let it out." He said, "What?" He said, "Did the cat, was the cat black with two spikes?" And she said, "Yeah." And you know, it's because she had no fear.
Yeah, they don't have skunks in Korea. I'd never heard that story before.
Yeah. You should ask your mom to repeat to make sure I said it right, but I'm sure that's how it went. There were so funny things with her.
Yeah. When did you? What was it? When was the first time you met my mom? Or were you at the farmhouse?
Christmas.
Christmas.
She was supposed to be picked up at the airport in Minneapolis at Christmas time, and Paul thought it was after Christmas, or I don't know, it was Christmas Eve day she flew in, or Christmas Day, and Paul was supposed to pick her up whenever. He thought it was a day later than it was. So she flew all the way to Minneapolis. Nobody to talk to because she only spoke Korean. And she was sitting there and waiting and waiting. She didn't know how to get a hold of Paul, nothing. And this couple that were there, they must have been waiting for another flight, asked if they could help her, and they could speak Korean. So they figured out, I don't know if she had Paul's number or what, but she didn't know how to dial or anything, and so they helped her. And so I remember we were over at my folks' place. They jumped in the car and took off from Minneapolis and brought her back. Okay, I think she could have killed Paul when she saw him. And she was just beside herself. But anyway, they came back, and yeah, and then met her.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
I can tell you a couple of things, but I don't know. She was strong-willed in that, and just really independent. And she just had her ideas what America was going to be like, you know, and it wasn't all that way. So one day, I don't know, Paul went into town, and she was mad because we were with Mom, I and the kids, and my mom and Okhui were in the car, and I was driving. And she got madder and madder and madder as we were going home, and she finally said, "Stop the car, stop the car, I want to get out." So I stopped the car and let her out, and she was walking. Do you remember where we lived? Where it was on that dirt road
at the lake?
Off the highway?
Yeah. At the lake. Yeah, I remember.
By that church, yeah, on the lake, on our lake. I was thinking of Twin Lakes. But yeah, at Loon Lake. And she wouldn't get in the car. I kept telling her, "Get in the car." No, she wasn't. This is enough after I just for 15 minutes. I thought the kids are in the car and they need to go home. And we just lived on that dirt road, which wasn't even it was just a short distance from our house. And I said, "Okay, if you don't get in this car, I'm leaving." And I finally left. And my mother right away, we went in the house and carried the stuff in the house, and she took the car because it was her car and went to pick Okhui up. And Okhui says, "I can't believe she left me. I can't believe she left me." They went down to find Paul.
Sounds about like
she
my mom.
Was so. I wasn't even mad so. And then my dad. This is just stuff you don't want to put in your information, but my dad did not like her because she was foreign. You know, he was was brainwashed by his father, I think, about everybody that wasn't American. Anyway, well, he'd be so irritated with her. He got to really love her. She was the only one that had the guts to stand up to him. And she'd clip his toenails, and because that's how she was taught to treat the elderly. She was really good to my dad, even when he gave her a hard time. And he just loved her.
Mm.
So that was cool, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah. She was so feisty. I haven't seen her much or talked to her much, and then since she's got married to Pat.
Yeah, she's just got really kind of set in her ways, I think, and
Yeah.
just she likes the comfort of her own little area.
Yeah. See, I like being in my house. In the
Yeah,
city.
maybe you're similar then, I guess.
Yeah.
She likes her yard and her house. And
Oh, I didn't get along with her at first.
Oh, really?
She was a spoiled brat.
how
But
so?
she became my favorite sister-in-law.
Yeah.
She was just, oh my gosh, personality. She was strong-willed, you know, and that. But she changed him. Yeah, we really became close. But then, you know, as time went on, I quit working at Love Lines. It's like a Christian crisis center, you know, towards Minneapolis. And when I quit there, I pretty much stayed at home. But I spent a lot of time helping April and Crystal with their kids. I spent really a lot of time. So there's a lot I disassociated with everybody. You know, I didn't spend time with them or anything anymore. And you get so you lose touch and you're so. And then I was going through a lot of stuff that was going on in the situation we had, and it was really hard on me. And I came down with symptoms of fibromyalgia and arthritis.
Mm.
I could not sit down and get up by myself.
Oh, really?
I was so stiff, yeah. And I went 3 years of pressure point therapy in Little Falls, Minnesota, because she worked on my joints and that for an hour and a half straight without stopping. And she didn't charge me really a lot for it. I think it was, I don't know, 60 something. That's pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
And if I'd stayed here and had it done, it would work a lot less and charge a lot more. Yeah. So anyway, at that time I was not in touch with anybody because Barry was here and him and Aaron put in the bathroom, and it still wasn't finished, but they did most of it. But they put the tile in, which if I'd known how difficult it was to put tile in, I probably wouldn't have it all the way up the wall. So anyway, but I just I had a hard time getting on that, so I kind of lost touch with her.
Yeah.
So I have, and I don't call her. I think about her at times, but I don't call her much. And then since Patrick has been, he's really good to her.
Yeah, I think so. You know, I didn't like him at first, but he's better than my mom.
Yeah, and that's it.